does have a timeout, but they're not going to take it. Blaney! Turner fouled! One more for Turner, who is 5 of 8 from the line tonight. Got it!
New York, stand up! This is Nothing But That Sports Talk. Welcome to Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafique Louison. Yeah, the Liberty, they barely got eliminated in the first round of the WNBA playoffs. I mean, I had to bring it up at least somewhat. I know WNBA is probably not your favorite sports topic, but I had to bring it up somewhat. Meanwhile, I have my special guest right here, diehard Yankee fan, diehard Brooklyn Nets fan, diehard Jets fan, really loves sports talk. Keith, welcome to the show.
Yo, what up, brother? First off, shout out to Seafoam season and the Liberty. I liked what they did this year, even though I don't watch too much WNBA. I do rep them because I rep the Nets, and they share the same arena. Sucks to see them go out. I was hoping they had a little bit longer run, so that would lead into the Nets season, but that's fine. And appreciate the intro. I am a Yankee fan, Nets fan. I rep the Jets because I'm in Jersey, but I'm actually one of those Cowboys fans.
Oh, you were Cowboys fans? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm one of those guys.
But let's start off with why you got into doing sports talk in the media field.
I mean, I always just been a sports fan. I played sports growing up. And now, I guess that I'm older, I looked at it like this, like if you can't go pro or you can't make it in sports, I played football, basketball, baseball growing up. I took a scholarship to play football in college. I played in college, got my degree in communication, radio, and television, which led me into the media that I'm doing now, covering the Yankees, covering the Nets, being on WFAN, being on commercials, being on podcasts like this one, videos like this one, live streams. So what got me into it was just being obsessed with sports. I don't really watch any other TV. My girl, try and find like a Netflix show to watch with me. And I'm like, nah, I'd rather watch Sports Center, or I'd rather watch any live game. I don't care if it's Marshall versus App State. Like, I'm going to watch that over watching regular TV because I just think there's no better entertainment than live sports. So just an all around sports fan and person. And I think that's really come out in my work and in my content. And that's what led me into, doing the, sports talk and sports media in New York that I'm in right now.
Why don't you talk a little bit about the Jomboy publication that you work for?
Oh, so Jomboy Media. Jomboy Media is the crew, the gang. Jomboy is one of the smartest guys I've ever been around. He is knowledgeable in baseball, but he's also a wizard on Adobe Premiere, video editing on the computer. This guy knows how to edit audio, video, do Photoshop. He's just a creative person. So he started Talkin Yanks, and Talkin Yanks was the Yankee podcast that kind of took off, and that enabled him to start talking baseball and actually create a whole company of people that do podcasts and like fan media, fans that, build their own brand and cover the game. So when I came into Jomboy Media, I knew Jimmy Jomboy from the Yankee world, from going to games and, just following his content on Twitter and YouTube and just being a fan of his podcast. So after we linked in the 2019 season, he said to me, hey, man, I can't pay you, but, we're building this company. We're putting this together and we're starting a brand called Talkin Nets. You're a Nets fan, and this would be a good way for you to come into the fold and work with us over here at Jomboy. And, I did Talkin Nets in the beginning. I wasn't on payroll, but I showed what I could do. And I got a full-time job a couple months after, the 2019-2020 NBA season started. And then the pandemic hit and everything changed, but we're still rocking after 2020 and now through most of 2021. So, yep, Jomboy Media, that's the gang.
Yeah, I can tell you put together a lot of content talking about the Nets and the Yankees. I mean, they're both playing on the S Network, and one play at the Broncos Center, one play in the Bronx. So, yeah, I can tell you're very passionate about talking about those teams. Now, get into a little bit about the Brooklyn Nets. Why did you become a Nets fan? Whether it's during the Brooklyn era or when they were playing in Jersey.
Yeah, I'm from Jersey, right? So I rep NJ. I'm a Jersey guy, and when I was a little kid, I was a Jordan fan. I feel like in the 90s, late 90s, every kid that watched basketball was a Jordan fan and rooted for the Bulls. But when Jordan left the Bulls and he retired, I wasn't about to become a Wizards fan. I just couldn't rock with the Wizards. Like, I mean, they're cool and all, but I'm in Jersey and I'm 11, 12 years old. I need to pick another team. I always rooted for the Nets. I was always rooting for the home team. There was only two teams in New Jersey, the Devils and the Nets. So I started really actually like rooting for the Nets and watching the Nets. We get Jason Kidd. We go to 2 finals. We get Vince Carter. Thought we were going back to the finals, and we ended up not going to the finals with Vince. But fast forward all these years, they moved the team. And the first year they moved the team to Brooklyn 9 years ago, I boycotted that season. I didn't go to a game. I didn't watch many games on TV. I didn't wear any Nets gear. And then the next season they went to the playoffs, and my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, she's like, yo, we got to go to the game. We got to see the Nets play. And I know you boycotting them. I know you're mad that they left Jersey or whatever, but I got you tickets for your birthday to go to this playoff game. And once I went to that Bulls Nets playoff game, it's funny because I was a Bulls fan growing up, and then my new team, they facing off in the playoffs. I saw the Barclays Center. I saw how dope it was in there. I was like, yo, this is way better than Continental Airlines Arena. Like this arena, this environment, this energy over here, this seems like a real NBA team. When they were playing in Jersey, it seemed like amateur basketball. And I can say that because I was a fan. I was there. And when they moved to Brooklyn and I went and saw that game, I already had my Darren Williams jersey, but I was like, yeah, let me get some more of this black and white merch, trade in my blue and red. And, I'm going with Brooklyn, and I've been rocking with the Nets ever since. I never really thought about making a Nets podcast or a Nets brand because the Nets weren't good. Like, they didn't have that many fans. Like, nobody was really checking for the Nets for a few years. And, fast forward to now, we got the best player in the league and the best roster in the league and probably the number 1 team in the NBA.
Yeah, I'm kind of a little different from you. And when it comes to supporting the Nets, I did root for them back when they had Jason Kidd and Vince Carter and Richard Jefferson. Literally the last 2 years and change of Jason Kidd's career when I started watching it in high school. Well, that Nets team was just so incredible. The way Jason Kidd was able to get inside passes to Vince Carter and pretty much let's put up some crazy behind the back layups against the Chicago Bulls one regular season game, and then that game-winning layup against the Toronto Raptors in the first series back in 2007, which was Richard Jefferson's doing. That Nets team was just incredible when they were making it to the playoffs, whether it's a 3rd seed or a 7th seed. They just don't know how to lose. They're just so tough. Vince Carter had a lot of good moments, even in the years where the Nets weren't really winning like that or weren't really a playoff team no more. Vince Carter always had good moments during his time with the New Jersey Nets. After that, I didn't really become that until they came to Brooklyn. And funny enough, when they came to Brooklyn, I went to my first Nets game when at home, the home opener, stadium opener against the Toronto Raptors. And I've been kind of more obsessed with going to their games ever since. And since I went to the first game 1 of the game, I went to game 1 of that series against the Chicago Bulls. Later on that series, they lost. I went to like 3 Nets games the season after. Didn't go to a Nets game again up until the HBCU night game against the Phoenix Suns. I went to game 5 of their playoff series against the Boston Celtics, the one where they actually got out of the first round, which is Kevin Durant, James Harden, and Kyrie Irving's first year in the playoffs together. Well, not really first year because Kevin Durant and James Harden, the history they've had in OKC. And let's not forget, Kyrie Irving did have some games with the Brooklyn Nets, but the injuries shortened it out, and he didn't play during the pandemic. But let's touch upon the way that the Nets franchise growth from the Brooklyn days. What are your impressions about that?
I mean, so going back to, the teams you were talking about with Richard Jefferson, even, like going back to Keith Van Horn, Kerry Kittle's days. Like, the Nets had some players, you know, Devin Harris era, and then obviously when Darren Williams came over, they had some players through all these different eras, but they weren't dominant. You know, when we went to back-to-back finals and we had the Spurs and the Lakers, we thought we had a chance of beating the Spurs. We had no chance of beating the Lakers. And then when we get VC, we're thinking we're going back. Like, just thinking about that time and that era, it was hard to recruit players to come to the Meadowlands, to come to the swamps of New Jersey. The top players didn't always, you know, want to come to New Jersey. If they're going to be in this area, they want to go to New York. But fast forward to now, you know, everything changed when they built that stadium in Brooklyn. And when they, you know, basically, excuse me, sorry. They basically rebranded the franchise. You know, they put Jay-Z next to the franchise. They changed the colors. And what I didn't realize in the beginning was that they were doing all that 10 years ago to get us to where we are now. As a kid in Jersey, I was just upset they took our basketball team. But really what they did was take our basketball team out of a market and put it in a better market. They took them out of a location that was really only like an hour away from the new location, and they improved so many things, which is why you can get a Kevin Durant, a Kyrie Irving, which is why you can get Paul Millsap, LaMarcus Aldridge. Luis Scola back in the day said, once they win, they'll get everybody they want. And that was in like 2014, maybe 2015. And that was saying once the Brooklyn Nets become a winning organization, once the Brooklyn Nets win games, they'll become an attractive place. And I love it, man. It's a place where hip hop is celebrated, art is celebrated. You see the Coogee sweaters, or the Biggie Coogee sweater design that we had on the jerseys in 2018, 2019, and then the 2019, 2020 season. And then last year, you get the Basquiat jerseys, which are some of the hardest jerseys in the NBA ever. The Brooklyn Nets do everything right. They took a stance during, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement. And you saw people outside of Barclays protested. Joe Tsai, the owner, you know, they just do things right. They speak out and they're not afraid to speak up. And I'm proud to be, you know, representing Talkin Nets as a New Jersey Nets fan. Now that I live up here in Jersey City, I'm about, 35-40 minutes from Barclays Center. I can get over there pretty easily, and I'm super excited to get this next season started.
Yeah, speaking of, well, now that we're in the middle of going into next season, I want to get your impressions about the way that the playoff run for the Nets went last year, where Kevin Durant literally came within an air ball away from making it to the conference finals.
Yeah, man, I was at that game, and I just posted it. It's funny, I just posted it yesterday because I think NBA Central put out a tweet, and they were like, if there was one NBA game that you could change the outcome of, what would it be? And it would be that game. And it would be a matter of an inch off the three-point line, man. I had great seats. I was half court, about 20, 30 rows back. And in my video, you see KD hit the shot, and then it pans to me, and I'm just looking up at the scoreboard. Like, I was like emotional because I was like everybody around me was celebrating. Everybody around me was ecstatic, but I was just looking like, I don't know if that's a three. I remember watching the game, and I was just so locked on Giannis, and I saw Giannis point at the three-point line, and I could tell that the celebration on the court wasn't the same as the celebration in the seats. Like, they didn't know if it was a 2 or a 3. Now the Brooklyn Nets put it on the marquee as a three-pointer, as a made three-pointer. They came back, looked at it, they said it was a 2, and we end up losing. But what I look at last season's run is like this, right? We were ahead of schedule. Kevin Durant will be a Brooklyn Net until 2025. Mm-hmm. And I'll just focus on KD because we haven't signed the extensions of James Harden and Kyrie Irving yet. But we were above schedule last year if we were to actually make it to the finals and win it. The team that beat us ended up being the winner. And obviously, that's the Bucks. And the Bucks had struggled in the years before. People said they choked in the playoffs, right? Giannis had his MVP, but couldn't get to a finals. They either got bounced in the first round, second round. The Heat eliminated them in the bubble. And the Heat went on to the finals. So this year, I think the Nets were above schedule. One, I feel like in KD's first season back from his Achilles injury, for him to be dropping 50 in playoff games, like we're above schedule. We're ahead of schedule. We weren't expecting to get a James Harden on this team, but we were able to make that trade last year. And James Harden came into the season out of shape a little bit, a little overweight, and that caught up to him in the season because he ended up with that hamstring injury, and it slowed him down. He's going to be in better shape going into this year. And last year with Kyrie, Kyrie takes his time, he takes his leaves, and he's more than entitled to that because of the relationship and the contract that he built with the Brooklyn Nets. You never hear the Nets organization complain about him. That's all people on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook talking down on Kyrie. The Nets organization don't have a problem with it. Now, Kyrie got hurt in game 4 of that series against the Bucks. If Kyrie doesn't go down, I think that series is different because we have a 1-2 punch. We won, I think it was game 5. We won game 5 because of a performance out of Jeff Green. Jeff Green dropped 27. You're not supposed to be relying on 34-year-old Jeff Green to be your second scorer. But we ended up doing that, right? We had no depth. We had no bench. We traded away guys like Karis LeVert, Jared Allen, Taurean Prince. We traded guys away from our bench to get Harden. Now, going into this season, we have a deeper bench. We went and got Patty Mills, Paul Millsap, LaMarcus Aldridge coming back. We drafted well, Cam Thomas, Day'Ron Sharpe. And we got other veterans to round out this team. Javon Carter, James Johnson. We'll see what it looks like in camp. But from the Nets' last playoff run, I tell people this. There's unfinished business. We were this close to beating the eventual champs. So going into this revenge season, the title of the Brooklyn Nets 2001-2022 story is unfinished business. We'll get it done this year.
Exactly. The Nets are really the projected winners of the 2022 NBA Finals anyway. But it's just a matter of it can stay healthy. Because last year, the Nets weren't healthy all year, but yet they finished with the second best record in the Eastern Conference. James Harden came on the team, had an incredible debut for the Brooklyn Nets. And when that trade with James Harden happened, I literally got on the phone with my friend saying James Harden got traded. It blew everybody's mind, let alone what he did for the Nets. The game winner against the Phoenix Suns. The way he carried the team when Kevin Durant was out for 2 months. This man is doing everything that he did when he played for the Houston Rockets. Now with this season coming up, you're finally going to have a proper practice towards the upcoming season. You're going to have the practice at the park. You're going to have the training camp. You're going to have literally everything that was missing during the COVID pandemic last year.
Yeah, that's huge. I'm glad you brought that up because going into the 72-game season, the shortened season, the season that came very quickly after the bubble, right? The shortest off season of all time. When you shorten an off season, that gives guys less time to prepare. That gives guys less time to work out. That gives guys less time to improve their bodies physically, their minds, mentally, and just take a step forward in their game. Now, when you look at the Nets were able to pull off that trade for Harden. And like I said before, Harden came into the season out of shape. Now this year he's coming into the season in shape because he's at a place that he wants to be. He's at a place that he wants to play. And I also look at guys like Joe Harris, right? Joe Harris disappeared a little bit in the playoffs, but he had a whole offseason to think about that. He's got a whole offseason to get better. And the Nets, I look at the Nets training camp opening up next Tuesday. The Nets have a training camp that they didn't have last year to get guys to gel, to work out together. Even trying to get the big three together. The big three didn't play together until the playoffs, and then they got hurt. Harden went down with his hammy in game 1 of the Bucks series. Kyrie game 4. So there's going to be more time to build chemistry, more time to build rapport. And I think this team will be super refined if they can stay healthy. If health is not an issue, we have depth. And by the time June comes, this team will be super refined because they're going to have practice reps, they're going to have in-game reps, and they're going to have a full season to become the best version of themselves that they can be. I'm super excited for it.
And not to mention Kevin Durant win another gold medal at the Olympics last summer. I had a chance to interview him twice during the Olympics, by the way, and I spoke to him. He also talked about the progress of working towards winning gold at the Olympics, especially coming off that one loss in the first game against an Evan Fournier-led team. That literally was everything.
Yeah, when they lost to France, I think it was just a shock to the system. I think it was just like, whoa, we're not going to just roll through these guys. And I actually did watch some of the second time they played France and when they played Australia. And what I'll say about it is, same thing Dame said. These guys play different when they're playing for their country. And that's basically saying these NBA players from all these different places around the world, they play with a little different energy when they're representing their homeland. And we had to bring that energy, and we did. We have the best players in the world in the United States. We have Kevin Durant, who took over. And, I got to see Patty Mills a little bit. Patty Mills got me excited to see him as a Brooklyn Net. Obviously, watching him on San Antonio, he's a pest. He's the type of guy that you don't like because he's not on your team, and now he's on the Nets team. But he was dropping 40 in the Olympics for Australia. Australia was good. Australia had a few guys, Joe Ingles, Dante Exum. I'm definitely forgetting some Matthias Thybulle. They have some guys that are NBA guys on those teams. So I think when they lost to France, it was a shock to the system. I think casual fans, which I hate to use the term casual, but casual fans think, they lost to France. Who the hell plays for France? Evan Fournier, right. Rudy Gobert, a former Net, TLC, Timothy Luwawu-Cabarrot plays for them. Like, they've got guys too. They've got NBA players too. So I'm glad we won it. But yeah, that was an interesting watch this summer. And Kevin Durant leaves as the greatest NBA Olympian of all time, the greatest United States basketball player of all time.
Yeah, but another New York team that we should touch upon is the New York Knicks. And you see the way the Knicks came back to being a playoff team. Julius Randle led them back. They did get taken out by Trae Young and the Atlanta Hawks last year in just 5 games. But they picked up Evan Fournier, first off his performance in France, and hometown hero Kemba Walker. Do you see the New York Knicks being at least somewhat of a threat to the Brooklyn Nets with their offseason acquisitions?
Hell no. Hell no. I'm not, trust me, bro. I'm not even kind of like, I don't do that. Like, I don't do the New York Knicks. I don't even kind of play into that. They'll be lucky if they're better than they were last year. I think last year, a 5 seed, what we saw out of them, that's where they're going to be this year. They're going to be middle of the pack, maybe a 6-7 seed. The East is competitive. They're not going to play with the Nets. The Nets are going to sweep them again. And Evan Fournier, right? I don't know if you remember Evan Fournier in that first series with the Celtics and the Nets. KD was about ready to smack him. KD was looking at him like, yo, watch who you talking to. And then they get Kemba Walker. So they just basically went and got 2 Celtics to put with their team. Nets fans, we don't like the Knicks. We don't like the Celtics. So good. Y'all team up and figure out how to win some games in Madison Square Garden. We'll see y'all real soon. I don't expect the Knicks to compete with the Nets. I expect the Knicks to be in the middle of the East, actually like a little bit lower in the pack. You can quote me as saying they'll be like a 5 or 6 seed again this year.
But this is a funny conversation because I'm not even surprised. I mean, like when you root for one New York team, you're always gonna hate the other.
Yeah, I don't do any of the other side. I got no love for the other side. Exactly. I'm a Yankee fan. I love that the Mets got swept. Even if the Red Sox swept them, I'm like, it's fine. I knew they weren't gonna beat the Red Sox. The Mets, I could never rock with. They beat us in the Subway Series. I was there on 9/11. That game was cool. That was the only win we got. But yeah, I don't do the other side, bro. It's one way or the other. You know how it goes in New York. You can't set trip. You can't rep both. It's one or the other.
Yeah, I'm not even surprised. This is a very funny New York sports conversation. I mean, a lot of people tell me only root for one New York team from all sports. But,
hey, it's a city divided like that, you know?
But whatever. Let's just get into the New York Yankees. They've been kind of up and down all season, but they're kind of in the top 2 spots for the wild card. What are your impressions about the way the Yankees progressed from being okay to start off, to hot, to bad, to a 13-game winning streak, to getting swept by the Blue Jays and only getting 1 game from the Baltimore Orioles and 1 game for the Mets, to now coming off a sweep against the Texas Rangers and they're playing the Boston Red Sox? You know, the one where you was in an ESPN promo for that series and the Subway Series as well.
Yeah, this Yankee team is schizophrenic. And when I say they're schizo, they don't know and we don't know how they're going to act. We don't know what they're going to do. They might go and rip off a 13-game winning streak and then follow it up with a 7-8 game losing streak. We don't know what team we're going to get. They might go out and beat the Indians 8-0 on Friday night, wake up the next morning, roll out there on a Saturday and lose 11-1. And then on Sunday, lose 11-3. So that's why I say the Yankees team is a schizophrenic team. You know, they're a roller coaster. Right now, the roller coaster is fun. Right now, we're ticking up again. We swept the Rangers. That's 3 wins in a row. We're heading to Boston tonight. And Boston, we're in the wild card because the Twins beat the Blue Jays last night. But Boston is 2 games up on us. So there's 3 games, and these 3 games count for 2 games. If the Yankees were to sweep, we'd end up +4 on them. The Yankees have to take at least 2. In my opinion, the Yankees are in the postseason right now. Everybody's talking about the postseason. We got to get into October. We got to get into October baseball. Well, get it into your minds that we are in October now, and this is the postseason. We can't lose this series to the Red Sox. We can't lose the series next week to Toronto, and we definitely can't lose this series to the Rays. So as far as the roller coaster goes, it's ticking up. We need it to keep ticking up. We can't have it go down, because if it goes down, that's it. That's the season, and everybody's going to be, you know, looking down with their heads down about, oh man, this Yankee team, you know, we did some great things this year. We had some immaculate innings. We turned triple plays. We had a no-hitter. We had a 13-game win streak. We had multiple guys over 30 home runs. Well, all that is well and good, but it means nothing if you don't get into the dance, if you don't get into the tournament. And these next 3 series will decide that for the Yankees. They got to win all 3.
Yeah, but let me ask this one question. What are your impressions about the growth that this Yankee team came together since the Aaron Judge, Gary Sanchez days started? And oh yeah, not to mention the addition of Giancarlo Stanton, basically the greatest Miami Marlins of all time.
I think about it like this, right? We watched this team in 2017 take the Astros to a game away from the World Series in the ALCS. Nobody expected that team to perform like that. They were ahead of schedule. And that was a team led by Judge, by Gary Sanchez, and what was called the Baby Bombers. Fast forward now to 2021, Brian Cashman and co. have added plenty superstars around them. You could start with Garrett Cole, going and landing the big fish, paying him and getting him. That was huge. But then going into this season, they signed Corey Kluber. Jamison Tyone they make a trade for to get us some different arms. We struggled a bit in the first half, and they actually used the trade deadline this year. And then the trade deadline, they go out and get Clay Holmes, Joely Rodriguez. Earlier than that, they got Wandy Peralta to shore up this bullpen. And then obviously, you know, the big acquisitions of Joey Gallo and Anthony Rizzo. The team has grown a ton. The team has evolved a ton. The team has filled gaps, filled holes. They've even figured out that Gleyber Torres can't be the shortstop of the future. They figured out that DJ LeMahieu can play third and Gio can play shortstop. The team has evolved. The team looks completely different. Brett Gardner's on his way out, but he's still contributing. Luke Voit is on the bench, but he's still contributing. There's a ton of guys on this team Kyle Higashioka when he gets his chances. Rougned Odor this year. Rougned Odor is another guy that we brought in here to help us win games. There's a lot of guys on this team that weren't on this team in the past, and I'm hoping they can figure it out. I'm hoping they can make a run because, it's a special group of guys and they won't be together next year.
Yeah, and this is the same New York Yankees that went literally over 10 years without winning the World Series. But for a team that has the most championships in any sports, do you consider them going 10 years plus without a championship a bad thing?
Yeah. As a Yankee fan, you expect to be in the World Series. As a Yankee fan, you expect to win the World Series. This is a drought. And it wouldn't be a drought if this was the NFL. It wouldn't be a drought if this is the NBA, because those leagues are salary capped. The Yankees have the most money. The Yankees can go out and spend and acquire talent and be able to pay them. And then that creates a different competitive balance. We have the money to field the best team. We should be actually fielding the best team, and we haven't. For the Yankees to not even reach the World Series since 2009, it's a disappointment. It's a drought. And I don't know when we're going to get back. Things have changed a ton from, the core 4 days, the three-peat. But like I said, the Yankees have the biggest brand in sports. Franchise is worth billions of dollars. They can afford two $300 million contracts in Giancarlo Stanton and Garrett Cole. We expect a better product. Yankee fans are loyal. We show up, we buy tickets, we buy merch, we buy stuff in the stadium, and we expect to go to a World Series, man. Nowhere rocks like the Bronx rocks in October. And coming up short sucks, and it makes you just question everything. It makes you question the front office. It makes you question the ownership. It makes you question Aaron Boone, our manager. And they got to figure out how to get into the postseason this year, because if they don't, I think heads will roll this offseason, and there's going to be a lot of upset fans, and there's going to be some changes coming in this near future.
Exactly. Not to mention the Yankees, they've had a lot of failures. I mean, okay, we talked about losing in the ALCS to the Astros in 2017. Got to the playoffs in 2018, they got wrecked by the Boston Red Sox in 4 games. After barely getting one in Boston, they got wrecked at Yankee Stadium. But it was somewhat of a fighting game but yeah, Boston was just too tough. Then the next year, they lasted only 6 games, literally a walk-off to get taken out. And then against the Tampa Bay Rays in a neutral site series, courtesy of the COVID pandemic, they lose a late inning hit as well. So, yeah, you can tell the Yankees, they've had their postseason struggles during the Aaron Judge era after winning how many championships during the Derek Jeter era. And even the days of Beirut, I mean, we weren't alive during those days, but it's still worth mentioning because those championships are part of history. The Yankees had the most championships in baseball.
Yep. 27 rings, bro. 27
Nobody
rings.
that. I mean, I spoke to this with one of my friends who's in my show how many times. Nobody surpassing that range. Nobody.
Yeah, no. They also put out another stat that the Yankees have had 29 consecutive winning seasons, and I think only there's a couple other franchises in hockey. I think the Red Wings and someone else that can say that. The Yankees win, but if they don't win it all, the fans are going to be upset. And like you said, the pedigree and the bar that was set from the Derek Jeter era, even going back to the Reggie Jacksons and Craig Nettles and Ron Guidry, and you go back to Babe Ruth, obviously, Yogi and Mickey Mantle and DiMaggio. The expectations around here are to win championships. And when you don't even get to the championship, it's a drought and the fans are worried, and something needs to change. And we'll see. It's going to be a very interesting next couple of weeks in Yankee land.
Yeah, you never know. They can actually get it done this year. I mean, you saw how far the Kansas City Royals got when they were the wild card team. Nobody expected to get there. Baseball is unpredictable. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we get it done. That's just me being real from watching this team. But Sevy just came back. Domingo came back. Michael King came back. We've got some reinforcements in the pitching. I just don't think that we get in. I think that we have to win these series against our division opponents, and I think they're better than us. I think that they figure out how to beat us. But if we somehow find a way to win the next 3 series, we deserve to be in the postseason. And if you can beat the Red Sox, Blue Jays, and Rays at this point in the season, you got a good shot in October. So I'll hang my hat on that. One, I'll say I don't believe that we get it done. I think we come up just short. But 2, if we do find a way to get it done, I think that's the momentum we need to go on a run in October.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you got a good point. But we shall wait and see. But meanwhile, I want to talk about your appearances on those commercials that you were in for Sunday Night Baseball every time the Yankees go up against the Boston Red Sox or New York Mets. Like, What's that experience like for you and how it came about?
It's just a blessing, man. Growing up, I watched ESPN. I still watch ESPN every day. I turn on SportsCenter. And, I did one shoot on May 7th outside of Yankee Stadium. One-time fee, got paid once. Shot for like 30 minutes and thought it was just going to be one commercial. ESPN, they're solid. Myself, Joe's McFly, we both shot. He shot in a different location than me, but everything that we shot with them, they clipped it up and they used it all season for Sunday Night Baseball, for the Red Sox series, for the Mets series, the Subway series, and the rivalry. They use those. So it's just dope for me, man. I have friends across the country that'll message me and be like, yo, I'm in Louisiana in a bar and I just saw your face on TV, or yo, I'm in Austin, Texas. Were you just on ESPN? I'm like, yeah, that was me, yo. They're like, yo, that's crazy. Like, I just saw you, you're in New York. I'm like, well, ESPN is national and those are national commercials. And that's why I say it's a blessing. It's just exposure, with what we do, covering the team, with what we do, talking sports out here. All we really want is to be seen and to be heard and to be respected for who we are and what we love and what we do. And for ESPN to put on like that, man, I appreciated it. And, it was a huge blessing to have that much exposure and visibility during the baseball season this year.
Exactly. And just being able to talk about the Yankees in the ESPN commercial, I know that was an incredible moment for you. And you getting to go to all those Yankee games, you go into a lot. I mean, I didn't go to a Yankee game ever since 2010 when they lost to the Indians in the regular season. And since. And I've gone past the Bronx so many times. I mean, these Yankees, man, they're a very established sports organization.
Yeah, I'm fortunate that the Jomboy Media office is 5 minutes from the stadium. You can walk from where I work to the stadium in 5 minutes. 2, I used to live in North Jersey, where I could get the fastest time I ever got to the Bronx from where I lived in North Jersey was 17 minutes going from my house to Yankee Stadium over the bridge. So that's why I say I'm fortunate enough, like location, right? Like where I work and where I live was close enough to Yankee Stadium to get to a bunch of games. I'm a little further out now. It takes me about an hour to commute to the game on the train. But like after you make enough connections and you make your rounds and you learn the game and you learn how to finesse, like sometimes I buy a ticket, but a lot of times I don't. Sometimes I get gifted tickets. And since they changed the game to digital tickets, people will just email me tickets and I'm in there and I'm covering the team and I'm posting my videos and I'm doing what I do. So blessed Yankee fan is what I call myself, man. I just, grew up as a kid watching the Yankees on TV, never thinking that I could be in it like this. And now that I'm an adult and now that I, figured out how to make it a career, man, I'm in there all the time. I hit 40 games. I just went to game 37. Next Friday will be 30. No, next Friday I think will be 38 or 39. And then Sunday should be 40. Yeah. So, I mean, I might have been at 39, but I'll say 40 games this year.
Exactly. Well, now we get some NFL talk. Like, what are the New York Jets, another horrendous start to a potential horrendous season. They're coming off only 2 wins last year. I was hoping they were bad enough to get Trevor Lawrence, but that didn't happen. We had to settle for Zach Wilson. And you see the way he performed last week?
I was at the game, bro. That shit was bad.
I know it was frustrating for you to watch. What would do you mind seeing that?
So my wife is a Patriots fan. We live 20 minutes from MetLife Stadium. So I was like, yo, you never seen the Patriots in the regular season. We should go. It was warm out. It was nice. And I got the tailgate and the Jets fans is out there. Jets, 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 nonstop. a whole lot of energy. Stadium was lit. And then Zach Wilson's first attempt was an interception. And then his second attempt was an interception.
It's like he's playing for the other team.
And then he ended up throwing 4 picks. And the whole stadium was dead. And people were leaving right after halftime. People were getting out of there. They stopped selling alcohol, I found out, in like the third quarter. And people started leaving. And Mac Jones and the Patriots do what they got to do, man. You know what they always say? They say Bill Belichick versus a rookie quarterback. Bill Belichick knows what to do to get these rookie quarterbacks rattled. He has them seeing ghosts like Sam Darnold was. Like, man, they didn't stand a chance. Mac Jones is just a check down guy, man. He wasn't doing anything crazy. Mac Jones is just a game manager. He's a rookie. But when you give a team, I don't want to say a good team because we don't even know if the Patriots are good yet. When you give a team the ball back 4 times, you making the game easy for them. So it was definitely a disappointing opener for the Jets. And then last night, you see Sam Darnold playing for the Panthers, kind of makes you look at the Jets like, yo,
the Panthers are
had an NFL quarterback. You didn't have to go do all that. And here we are.
Well, that's what happens when you're coming off an only 2-win season. Yeah. Yep. You get rid of that quarterback. He goes to the Panthers. He ends up doing better there. And no, Sam Darnold's, I don't know what to tell you. The Jets, they're just so horrendous these past 10 years. They haven't been to the playoffs since getting taken out by the Pittsburgh Steelers in the AFC title game. Even I remember that, even though it's been 10 years.
Yeah, I look at the Jets like, you know, the Mets, kind of like the Knicks. Like, those are franchises in New York that, like, bad things just happen to. Like, you just watch and you read the news, and you see one thing after another, the goddamn Jets or LOL Mets, or like only the Knicks can out Knicks themselves. It's just how it goes. I don't know. They got a new coach. They got a new quarterback. They got some new players, but they got to figure it out, man, or they're going to lose a bunch of games this year too.
Yeah, that's also true. And since I didn't really get a chance to do that in the last episode, let's just go to our NFL predictions, started with the Jets and the Denver Broncos. I know you – do you see –
Broncos, easy.
Yeah.
They got to go on the road. They got to go to Mile High, right? Yeah. I'm taking the Broncos in that, whatever the spread is.
Yeah, okay. Next up, we got the Buffalo Bills and the Washington football team, the name I hate so much. Who you got winning that game?
Bills. I'm looking for Josh Allen to build off of what he did last week. I know the Washington football team is supposed to be, you know, one of the best defenses, but we'll see how Taylor Heineke looks this week. I got the Bills. I got the Bills winning that one.
Yeah, the Washington football team coming off a win that they only got because Lawrence had to do an offside penalty in a missed field goal attempt.
Yeah, that sucks, man. I watched that game, and it's not on one guy, but it is, because that was a miss. The Giants had that game.
Yeah. Bears or Browns? Who you got?
I like this one because Justin Fields is going to play and Odell Beckham Jr. is coming back. I'm taking the Browns. I don't think the Bears are there yet. I don't think the rookie is going to be there yet in his first start, but he's going to give us some good plays. He's going to give us some highlight stuff. But Nick Chubb, Baker Mayfield, Odell Beckham Jr., Myles Garrett, and the Browns, they get another win.
Yeah. Next up, although this is a no-brainer, but I'm going to say it anyway, Baltimore or Detroit?
Baltimore, obviously. They just beat the Chiefs. I think what they have going over there with those running backs now, Tyson Williams, Latavius Murray, Devontae Freeman, and even Le'Veon Bell getting ready to go. What they have going with those running backs and Lamar Jackson, all they're going to do is run the ball and throw a couple passes to Marquise Brown, Mark Andrews, Sammy Watkins, and they're going to keep guys off balance. You can't stop the run. You can't stop the Ravens. I'm taking the Ravens in that one.
Colts or Titans?
Oh, Titans. Colts just lost Carson Wentz. Jacob Eason is forced to play. The Titans just came off a huge win, an upset win in Seattle. No one picked them to win in Seattle because the Seahawks won like 12 openers in a row. I'm going with Derrick Henry and the Titans.
Los Angeles Chargers or Kansas City Chiefs? I mean, this is probably another old brainer because Kansas City, with that quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, he's going to school the Chargers.
Yeah, I'm taking the Chiefs. The Chargers just lost to my Dallas Cowboys. And what I will say is Justin Herbert is legit. Like, second-year quarterback, he looks like he's been in the league for some time. He's legit. But they're not going to be able to outscore the Chiefs. They're not going to be able to duel with the Chiefs. I'm taking Kansas City.
Yeah. Saints or Patriots?
Saints. And I mean, I'm not really sure on this one because the Saints came out and beat the Packers the way they did, like 38-8, and then they laid an egg last week. But I think they rebound. I think they have, 2 weeks of film to watch now. I think Jameis has a better game. And I just think that the Saints can, with their offense, put up points. Like, they're more of a high-powered offense. They're going to throw the deep ball. They got Kamara. If they can score enough points, Mac Jones and that Patriots offense is not going to just run the football and throw the ball in the Saints defense. I'm taking the Saints.
Giants or Falcons? I want my Giants to win this one because, come on.
Must-win game. It's the must-win game of the season. The Giants lost to the Broncos in their home opener. Then the Giants lost in Washington to the football team. They're retiring Eli Manning's jersey this Sunday. They've always figured out how to beat the Falcons in the playoffs. The Falcons suck, man. Giants have to win this game. If they mess up this game and let like Calvin Ridley or Kyle Pitts or Mike Davis get off, their fans are going to be losing it. They can't go 0-3 because that will effectively mean the season is over. I'm taking the Giants.
Steelers or Bengals?
Oh, I'm actually going Bengals here. I like the Steelers, but like their offense is all over the place. They got to figure out how to run the ball. They got to figure out who their main receiver is, their A1 receiver. Is it Claypool? Is it Johnson? I just think they're a mess right now. And they got a rookie running back, and they don't have any run game. They haven't had a run game. No, I can't go with the Steelers. I'm going with the Bengals. Their kicker, Evan McPherson. He's got the same last name as me. I like to pretend that's my cousin. I picked him in all my fantasy teams. Mixon is off to a great start. The kid, Jamar Chase, rookie, getting back with his boy Joe Burrow. They're home, right? They're hosting the Steelers. It's Steelers at Bengals. Yeah, I think I'm taking the Bengals.
Yeah, I'm probably going to take a gamble at the Bengals too. I mean, it's looking like a promising win. If Ben Roethlisberger doesn't get out to one of those hot games that he always gets off in, the Bengals should get this one. Now on to this one. Arizona or Jacksonville? Obviously, it's a no-brainer because Kyle Murray is just unstoppable, man. And Trevor Lawrence is not ready for that.
Yeah, the Jaguars are going to lose another game, and Kyler Murray should have his way with that defense. Look for him to have another 300, 400-yard game, 3-4 touchdowns. I really hope A.J. Green gets active. But when you look at their receivers, man, they got Hopkins, they got Christian Kirk, and they got that kid Rondell Moore. There's 4 receivers that can go off. So I'm taking the Cardinals easy.
Dolphins or Las Vegas Raiders?
The Raiders. The Dolphins have to roll out Jacoby Brissett. Jacoby Brissett obviously has reps as a starting quarterback in the NFL, but he's a backup. So we'll see what he can do. He claims he's not a backup. He's a starter in a backup role, all that. Well, let's see what he can do. But I can't go with the Dolphins in that game.
Yeah. Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Los Angeles Rams?
Ooh, that's a good one. I'm going with the Rams just because I want to see Tom Brady and the Bucs lose. I think that the Rams have a high-powered enough offense. They have a good enough quarterback. I think that Aaron Donald and that defense with Jalen Ramsey, they do enough to disrupt Tom Brady. I just want to see Tom Brady lose. So
yeah,
give me the Rams.
Yeah, coming from a Giants fan who beat Tom Brady in the Super Bowl twice, I would like to see Tom Brady lose as well. Seattle Seahawks or Minnesota Vikings?
Seahawks bounce back. They need a bounce back win. I think Cook might have got hurt last week. Seahawks need a bounce back win. I think Russell Cook. That defense can't stop DK and Lockett and Carson. I'm going with the Seahawks.
Green Bay Packers or 49ers? I'm obviously going to take a gamble, pick the Packers with this one.
I'm taking the Niners. I just think the Niners are beasts. Like, their defense is crazy. Their offense isn't that crazy, but they got enough playmakers. Debo Samuel, the kid Elijah Mitchell emerged now that Mostert is hurt. I just think Kyle Shanahan's got that team, back to where they were when they went to the Super Bowl. So I'm going with the Niners.
Yeah. And obviously the Monday Night Football game with the Cowboys and the Eagles, you're obviously going to pick the Cowboys to win this one because you mentioned you're a Cowboys fan. Although I think the Cowboys might win this one, or I think the Cowboys might lose this one. But
how about them Cowboys? Honestly, man, the Cowboys are always on prime time. They always get these games. Like they got the first game of the year, and then the game last week was the national game of the week. It's the opener. It's the first game in Jerry World this season. And I just don't think Jalen Hurts and the Eagles are ready for that. Now, they have embarrassed us in Jerry World before. They have embarrassed us in prime time. But Dak Prescott, that guy is on another level, and the world will see. That defense can't stop him. They just lost Brandon Graham. The Eagles defense cannot stop the Cowboys. And now the Cowboys are not stopping themselves in the run game. They're letting Tony Pollard get active. It isn't just giving the ball to Zeke. Michael Gallup got hurt, but CeeDee Lamb and Amari Cooper are ready to rock. I'm going Dallas. How about them Cowboys?
Yeah, if Ezekiel Elliott could get into one of those 200, 300-yard runs, he's going to be a problem for the Russian defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. Going to be a major problem. Well, that concludes episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. Keith, thank you for stopping by. Can't wait to do this again. I know you're going to enjoy some football and the Nets return. And, yeah.
Hey, man, thanks for having me. It was cool to just talk sports with another guy in New York that talks sports like I talk sports. Appreciate you, bro. Good luck with everything, and I'll see you online.
And to all the ballers out there, New York, we here.